In life, not everything is meant to be spoken. Some truths, some plans, and some weaknesses, when shared with the wrong people, become weapons against you. Silence, at the right time, is more powerful than words. Today I will teach you 5 things you must never share with anyone if you want peace, strength, and true control over your life. When we talk about the things you should never share with anyone, the very first is your deepest weaknesses. Let me explain why. Weakness is not always a permanent state. Sometimes it is simply a passing shadow, a moment where your energy is low or your confidence is tested. But the danger begins when you hand that shadow into the hands of another person. Imagine holding a blade. If you keep it close, you control it. But if you hand it over to someone else, you never know when it may be used against you. Your weaknesses are the same. They are sharp tools, and in the wrong hands, they can cut deeply. When you open your heart and say, "This is where I feel broken. This is where I feel afraid," you may believe that the other person will hold that truth with compassion. Sometimes they will. But often, even unintentionally, they may use it to gain power over you. A small comment in an argument, a subtle reminder of your fear, a moment when you needed strength but instead received judgment. These moments can weaken you further. And it is not because you are weak. It is because you gave someone else access to the most fragile part of your being. People carry their own struggles, their own wounds, and sometimes their own envy. If they see where you are vulnerable, it becomes easier for them to project their frustrations onto you. Even those you think you can trust may one day find themselves in a situation where your weakness becomes their leverage. This is why the wise never expose their softest spots to the world. They protect them, they heal them in silence, and they transform them into strength. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine you are afraid of failure, and you confess this fear openly to those around you. Every time you attempt something new, people will remind you of that fear. And you sure, what if you fail? And suddenly, instead of building courage, you feel their words reinforcing your doubt. But if you kept that fear within, worked on it quietly, strengthened yourself without exposing it, the same people would look at you with admiration when you succeed. Do you see the difference? One path multiplies your fear, the other path multiplies your strength. This does not mean you should deny your weaknesses. No, you must acknowledge them, understand them, and face them. But this is inner work, private work. The place to reveal weakness is not in the ears of others, but in the silence of your own mind. When you sit alone, when you meditate, when you reflect, you face yourself honestly. You ask, what is it that makes me afraid? What is it that makes me doubt? And then you begin the process of transforming. The caterpillar does not announce to the world that it feels small and unworthy. It enters a cocoon, hidden, unseen, and emerges as a butterfly. In the same way, your weaknesses must be placed into the cocoon of silence until they are reborn as strength. When you protect your vulnerabilities, you are not pretending to be perfect. You are simply wise enough to know that not everyone around you is prepared to handle the weight of your truth. Privacy is not secrecy. Privacy is protection. If you are carrying a wound, you do not hand it to others so they can press on it. You cover it, you heal it, and only when it is scarred over with strength do you reveal what you have overcome. So remember, never hand over your deepest weaknesses to anyone. They belong to you and in your care alone. They can become the source of your greatest power. One of the greatest mistakes people make is speaking too soon about what they are planning to do. They feel excitement, a rush of energy, and they want to share it with everyone around them. But when you tell the world about your next move, you are giving away power before it has even formed into reality. Words are energy, and when you release them too early, that energy is scattered instead of being focused. Think about how many times you have heard someone say, "I am going to start this business," or I am going to change my life. In that moment, their intention is strong, but very often, after announcing it, the fire begins to fade. Why? Because they already received a little taste of satisfaction simply by saying it out loud. It is like planting a seed and then immediately digging it out of the ground to show people. That seed will never grow because it was not given the darkness, the time, and the protection it needed to develop roots. When you share your plans too soon, you also open the door for other people's doubts, fears, and negativity. Some may not wish you harm directly, but their words carry weight. If you tell them your dream, they may respond with, "That's risky," or "Do you really think you can do that?" These seeds of doubt can quietly plant themselves inside you, and without realizing it, you begin to question yourself. Instead of moving forward with focus, you start carrying the burden of their voices in your mind. There is also the presence of envy. Not everyone wants to see you grow, and sometimes, without speaking it, people feel threatened by your ambition. When they hear about your plans, they may subtly discourage you, delay you, or even work against you. It is not always visible, but energy travels, and not all energy is supportive. Silence protects you from this unseen resistance. Silence also allows you to remain disciplined. When you do not tell the world what you are about to do, there is no one waiting to see whether you succeed or fail. You are free to focus entirely on the work without the pressure of proving yourself. This makes you more steady, more committed, because your energy is not divided between action and explanation. Imagine a great warrior preparing for battle. He does not announce every strategy to the enemy before he steps onto the field. He studies, he trains, he sharpens his blade in silence. And when the time comes, he acts with precision. The same is true for your life. Your goals are your strategies. Your discipline is your weapon. And your silence is your shield. There is a powerful satisfaction that comes when you let your results speak for you. People may not even know what you were working on until one day they see the outcome. And when they see it, it is undeniable. That is when your words gain weight, because they are supported by action. This is how respect is earned. Not by promising, but by delivering. So keep your plans within you until they are ready. Protect them like fire in your hands. Too much wind, and the flame will go out. But in silence, in discipline, that flame will grow strong enough to light the path ahead. Never announce your next move. Prove it with your actions. Family is the foundation of our lives, yet it is also one of the most delicate and private aspects of our existence. The bonds we share within a family are sacred, and with that sacredness comes a responsibility to protect it. When you share your family problems with outsiders, even with the best intentions, you expose the heart of your home to the judgment, gossip, and misunderstanding of others. What is meant to be healed inside is instead scattered outside, and once spoken, those words can never be taken back. Think for a moment about how many people go through difficulties within their families. Arguments, disagreements, misunderstandings. These things happen in every household. But when you bring those struggles to the outside world, you are inviting strangers, colleagues, or even friends to form opinions about the people closest to you. And here is the danger. People who only see a small part of your story will begin to paint the entire picture. They do not carry the same love, the same loyalty, or the same understanding you do. Their words may be careless, their judgments unfair, but once spoken into your ears, they can change the way you look at your own family. You may feel relief when you vent to others, but often this relief is temporary. The cost is permanent because people remember what you told them. They do not forget. Even after you have forgiven, even after your family has healed, others may still see your loved ones through the lens of the weakness you once revealed. And without meaning to, you create distance, not just between you and your family, but also between your family and the world outside. There is also another truth: families fight, but families also love. Within the same walls where harsh words may be spoken, there are also moments of kindness, sacrifice, and deep connection. Outsiders never see that full picture. They only hear what you decide to share in the heat of the moment, and usually we share the pain, not the joy. This creates an imbalance where the people closest to us are remembered only for their mistakes, never for their love. The wiser way is to keep the circle of family matters small. Instead of spreading your wounds outward, you face them inward together. If there is a disagreement, you resolve it with patience, with dialogue, and with forgiveness, not by handing it to people who cannot truly understand. Privacy is protection, and in the case of family, it is also respect. When you protect the dignity of your family, even in difficult times, you are preserving the very roots that hold your life steady. Silence in these matters is not weakness. It is strength. It shows maturity. It shows that you understand the difference between what needs to be shared and what needs to be shielded. And it also shows that you value the trust that binds you together. Once trust is broken, once someone feels exposed, it is very difficult to rebuild. But when you protect one another, even in moments of conflict, that protection strengthens the bond. The truth is, every family has problems, but not every family has loyalty. Problems can be solved. Loyalty, once lost, is almost impossible to regain. And one of the surest ways to lose it is by placing outsiders above your own. So when you feel the urge to reveal what happens behind your doors, pause and remember that not every truth deserves an audience. Never share your family problems with anyone, because what is sacred must be protected, not exposed. Money is one of the most misunderstood subjects in human relationships. It has the power to unite, but also the power to divide. The way you manage it, how much you have, or how little you may possess. These things should remain private. When you expose your financial situation to others, you invite judgments, comparisons, jealousy, and even hidden intentions that can slowly poison the way people treat you. Think about it. If people know you are struggling financially, some may look down on you. They may begin to treat you as less capable, less respected, or even less worthy. And on the other hand, if people know you are doing well, if they see wealth around you, then envy awakens. Suddenly, their kindness may not be kindness at all. It may be calculation. Their friendship may not be friendship. It may be expectation. And the truth is, you will never really know which one it is, because money has the ability to blur intentions. Silence, when it comes to finances, is protection. If you are struggling, it allows you to rebuild in peace without being burdened by pity or judgment. If you are prospering, it allows you to enjoy your abundance without the weight of envy pressing against you. When people do not know, they cannot form opinions, and when they cannot form opinions, you remain free. There is another reason to keep your financial matters private. Once you reveal too much, people begin to place you into categories. They start to measure you not by your character, but by your possessions. If you have little, they may underestimate you. If you have much, they may overestimate you. In both cases, you lose the simple gift of being valued for who you truly are. Money is a tool, nothing more. But for many, it becomes an obsession. They see it as the definition of worth, and so the moment they learn about your financial state, they unconsciously change the way they see you. This shift can alter friendships, weaken trust, and even destroy respect. It is not always intentional, but it happens because human beings are naturally drawn to compare. And comparison is the root of dissatisfaction. If you want peace, if you want to move in life without unnecessary weight on your shoulders, learn to keep your financial matters to yourself. Work in silence, build in silence. Even when you face struggles, let them be known only to those who absolutely need to know, not to the world. And when you experience prosperity, let it show through your presence, through your discipline, through your kindness. but never through your words. What you own is not for others to measure. Your struggles are not for others to gossip about. Your wealth is not for others to envy. Both poverty and abundance can create noise when they are spoken too loudly. But in silence, you give yourself space to live freely, to act without the constant pressure of outside eyes. So remember this, your financial life is not a public story. It is a private journey. And when you protect it, you protect not just your money. You protect your peace, your relationships, and your freedom. Never reveal your financial situation to anyone, because money may come and go, but the respect you lose from speaking too much is far harder to regain. There is a kind of purity in kindness that must never be spoiled by seeking recognition. When you do something good for someone, when you lend a hand, give support, or make a sacrifice, the value of that act lies in its silence. The moment you begin to speak about it, the moment you share it as if it were an achievement, the purity begins to fade. True kindness is not a performance. It is not meant for applause. It is a reflection of your character, not a tool to impress others. Many people fall into the trap of announcing their good deeds. They help a friend, and then they retell the story to 10 others. They give money, and then they remind the one who received it of their generosity. But when kindness is used as a weapon to gain control, or as a story to inflate one's ego, it is no longer kindness. It becomes pride disguised as compassion. And pride, unlike kindness, weakens the spirit instead of strengthening it. Think for a moment of the people in your life who have shown you real support. Often, it is not the ones who spoke about what they did, but the ones who acted quietly, who gave without expecting anything in return. Their silence made their actions even more powerful. The same is true for you. If you want your kindness to truly carry weight, let it live in silence. Let it be felt, not advertised. There is another reason to avoid sharing your good deeds. The moment others know of them, they may begin to question your motives. Instead of seeing you as genuine, they may believe you are simply looking for validation. And even if your intentions were pure, the perception changes everything. By keeping your kindness private, you protect its authenticity. No one can question what they do not see. No one can taint what was never spoken. Silence in kindness also protects you from entitlement. If you give and then announce what you gave, people will begin to expect more from you. They may see you not as someone generous, but as someone responsible for fulfilling their needs. Over time, you will feel the burden of their expectations, and the joy of giving will be replaced with exhaustion. But when you give quietly, people recognize it as a gift, not a duty. And that is when gratitude flows naturally, without pressure. There is a deep strength in being kind without needing recognition. It trains your ego. It reminds you that you are not giving for applause, but because it is simply the right thing to do. And the truth is, the universe has a way of returning that energy back to you. You do not need to announce it to be rewarded. Life itself will reflect it in ways you cannot always predict. Every culture, every tradition, every wisdom school has spoken about this. The idea that true generosity comes from a place of humility, not pride. A hand that gives in silence is far more powerful than a voice that speaks of giving. Because one uplifts others, while the other only seeks to uplift itself. So the next time you do something good, resist the urge to talk about it. Let your kindness remain invisible to the world, but unforgettable to the one who received it. Never share your acts of kindness with anyone, because what is done in silence carries the loudest echo in the heart. Your inner life is sacred. The rituals you practice, the moments you spend in silence, the prayers you whisper, the meditations you hold, these belong to you and you alone. They are not decorations to be shown to the world. They are the bridge between your inner self and your higher self, between your mind and the source of your strength. When you expose them, you invite judgment, misunderstanding, or even ridicule from people who cannot see what you see or feel what you feel. And in that exposure, the depth of your practice begins to weaken. The truth is, not everyone is meant to understand your spiritual path. Some people live only on the surface, chasing distraction after distraction, and when they hear of your discipline or your inner practices, they may laugh, dismiss, or even criticize. Their words can sow doubt where there was once clarity. What you once did with devotion may begin to feel like something you need to defend. But anything that demands defense loses its purity. This is why it is wiser to remain silent about the practices that nourish your soul. Consider the flame of a candle. If it is placed in the open wind, it flickers, struggles, and may even be extinguished. But if it is protected, if it is sheltered, it burns steadily and strongly. Your spiritual life is that flame. When you speak of it too freely, you place it into the winds of other people's opinions. But when you protect it, when you keep it within, it grows into a steady source of light. This does not mean you must hide who you are. It does not mean you should be ashamed of your beliefs or practices. It means that your inner discipline is not for display. It is not a performance, it is a journey. A tree does not explain how it grows, it simply grows, and in time, its fruit becomes visible to everyone. In the same way, you do not need to announce your practices. The changes in your presence, your calmness, your wisdom, and your strength will speak louder than any explanation ever could. When you share too much, you also risk turning something sacred into something ego-driven. Spiritual practices are meant to humble you, not inflate you. But if you begin to speak of them often, you may unconsciously turn them into achievements, a way to appear superior to others. This is a dangerous path, because the very practices meant to free you from pride end up feeding it instead. Silence is the safeguard. It keeps your focus pure and your discipline clean. Every journey of inner growth requires patience and protection. There will be times when even you doubt yourself, when your discipline feels heavy or your progress feels slow. In those moments, the last thing you need is the opinion of others weighing on you. If you keep your practices private, you can continue walking steadily without the noise of external voices distracting your path. And one day, without even realizing it, your actions, your presence, and your being will inspire others. Not because you told them what you do, but because they see the results in how you live. That is the highest form of teaching. Not through words, but through example. Never share your personal spiritual practices with anyone, because what is sacred must remain protected if it is to grow into true strength,